settings, Focusrite, so that should be working. Speakers. So why isn't... Oh, my mic is working. I was looking at the wrong thing. Right. fuck, my life. Dom, if you're bored, you can hop on if you want. I don't want to say close a few fucking windows down. Yes, good evening and welcome to another flawless 14 words. How are we doing, peoples? Right then, so for my first tale, let's talk about the, hold on, let me just look, there you go, analog. Yeah, so the first tale I'm going to give you is The Legend of Boggy Creek. So what I'm doing is I'm reading some old 14 times, just so you know. Fuck off, program. So, Mr. Magic Rock Boy's in, even found that voice changer. Is it actually working now, fucking thing? Oh yeah, it is working. So let's
just turn that off. Even though normal voice now. How we doing? How we doing, peeps? So right, the first tale I'm going to give you is The Legend of Boggy Creek. In 1974, a low-budget independent film entitled The Legend of Boggy Creek found its way into American cinemas, conceived in the same cinematic vein as George Romero's 1968 classic Night of the Living Dead. Complete with handheld camera and mono sound, the movie claimed, unlike Romero's horror fantasy, to be a true story. Boggy Creek was also destined for the same kind of financial success. The production cost was reportedly $165,000, all funds being raised personally by producer-director Charles B. Pierce and his brother-in-law Steve Lyons, and netted over $22 million in its first year of release. The film also set in motion an ongoing debate about the subject, a three-toed, Bigfoot-like creature that lived on the swampy banks of a Red River tributary called Boggy Creek. From the beginning, there were real questions about how to classify the film. Was it a fictionalized documentary or just a horror film? Put most simply, yes. Put most simply, was the story true? Just check that's all working. Yeah. Oh, evening, Dom.
Evening.
Have you ever heard of The Legend of Boggy Creek, Dom?
Oh, hang on a minute. I've got.
My mic is my mic low?
No, sorry. I had the sound on the channel and I was getting it twice. Sorry. Say again.
The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Boggy Creek. No, don't know that one.
Don't know that one. Oh, right. So I'm just reading about that. So basically, what happened to catch you up, Dom? I don't know if you heard it or not. 74, they made a low budget independent film called The Legend of Boggy Creek.
Right.
Same year as I think it's 74. So it was like a low budget, like Night of the Living Dead. So Boggy Creek is a very real place in rural Fouke, Fouke. How would you pronounce that, Dom?
I think Fouke. I think it's an island, isn't it?
Fouke. No, this is it's in Hobbit's favourite state, Arkansas, as Hobbit calls it.
Oh yeah,
Arkansas, as everyone else calls it. Near the borders of both Texas and Louisiana. At the time of the film's production, the population of Fouke, Fouke. How would you say that? Is that Fouke? Fouke?
Fouke. It's probably German or something.
Yeah.
Lots of German settlers in the US.
Fouke. So population of Fouke was hovering around 500 and reportedly declining. The nearest city, Texarkana, which straddles the Texas... I remember there used to be like a chain of like Tex-Mex restaurants called Texarkana. Do you remember those, Dom? Did I have them down your way?
Yeah. Which
straddles the Texas-Arkansas line. I can't say Arkansas without saying Arkansas because they're Hobbit. It's about 15 miles, 24 kilometres away. As the film's narrator mentions, the town is on US Highway 71, and those travelling from Shreveport to Texarkana in those days probably drove through Fouke without even realising it was there. Over 30
Oh.
years later, not much has changed. What's that, Dom?
Apparently, it's pronounced as folk, as in rhymes with poke.
Oh, folk. So I've got to call it
Yep.
folk, not fook. A bit like Cookno near me, which is spelt Coggenho, but it's pronounced Cookno by the locals.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I'm near Easebourne, which the locals pronounce Esbourne.
Oh, is it Flitwick? Over 30 years later, not much has changed, except the town is now listed in USA Today's 10 Great Places to Find a Monster, and the population has soared to 814, according to a sign on the outskirts of town. Although the latest US census figures put that number at only 313. Did you hear about this? Reminds me of a film. Is it the Town That Dreaded Sundown? Have you ever heard that one?
Oh.
There's like a 70s like slasher flick called that, and that was actually based on true events. There was some dude in I think he was like dressed like Jason with like a sack on his head, going around like killing people. So then they did the Legend of So they did the Town That Dreaded Sundown, and then recently they did like a remake / reboot / sequel.
Well, maybe
which
that's
references the original film.
maybe that's based on the same same
I think
thing.
it's based on the film, which is based on true events.
Yeah.
So, Old Highway 71 is now a secondary road thanks to a nearby superhighway that bypasses Folk completely. Today, you can stand on the banks of Boggy Creek, latitude 33 degrees 15 north and longitude 92 degrees 55 west, at approximately 228 feet, 70 metres above sea level. A lot of information on this.
Well, apparently, the Town That Dreaded Sundown is loosely based on the 1946 Texarkana moonlight murders.
Oh, so it's weird. So it's all the same sort of area then, isn't it?
Yeah, there's probably a ton of them around there.
Yeah, like I say, and then they did like a recent reboot / sequel, which references the first. I think it references the first film. I don't think it references the events. I haven't seen either film though. But so, according to our GPS, and listen to the sounds of the deep pine woods or the bottoms, as like we don't want to go out listening to the bottoms, do you? If you persevere, you can find most of the sites alluded to in the film, and there are plenty of folks willing to be neighbourly and tell you what they know about the Fook monster, as the creature is called locally. Boggy Creek itself meanders through the area, intermingling with Chicken Creek and the old Sulphur River in the bottoms, where it sometimes widens into a small lake or pond at other points, dries up into a muddy puddle. The land is dense with vegetation, impassable in some places, where the woods and bushes reach out to the narrow roadways. To get into the bottoms, you have to either wade over the creek beds, or where there is enough water, use a small boat or canoe. The legend of the bog monster, an inhabitant of one of the best parts of reading analog materials. Turning the page. The noxious smelling swamplands predates the film by at least 30 years, when the first reports of something big living in the woods were heard. Today, most folk will tell you that these early stories were most likely spread about by moonshiners attempting to scare people out of the bottoms and away from their illegal stills. I mean, that's a lot like a lot of English folk stories, ghost stories, because they were spread around to keep people away from smuggling areas, weren't they?
Yeah. Although is Arkansas, is it
Arkansas
near Florida? Yeah, is it near Florida? Because there could be like anacondas or crocodiles or shit like that in there.
Like, my geography of the US is terrible. So
in the south, and there's boggy parts, so there's probably alligators there.
Right, there you go. Arkansas map. It could actually. I need to see a London map. Not London map. I need to see a US map.
No, obviously Florida and Louisiana have alligators.
Yeah, US map. It's definitely south, isn't it? It's. You guys, what you want? Oh, that's not showing me the fucking right picture, you knobhead. You promised me a picture of America. Right, let's see if that works. Right, so is Kansas near Arkansas? Actually, I don't even know where Arkansas is. I don't think it is a state, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I know I found it. It's about 3 or 4 states over from Florida.
Okay, so yeah.
So if you go, so you got Arkansas, then you got Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and then Florida. The Panhandle is just below Georgia.
Yeah, as the proper bred redneck area.
Yeah, yeah. All the racists are. Mabfaz is on. Do you want to pop on, Mabfaz, if you're around? So, the film describes the village of Folk as a right pleasant place to live, which is still true today, monster or not. The local diner serves up a great burger, and the general store is well stocked. Folk is by no means a tourist mecca. However, the only reference to the legend is a large metal sign next to the appropriately named Monster Mart, painted to look like the beast. Visitors can stick their heads through a hole and be photographed as the folk monster. The legend of Boggy Creek relates several incidents of one-on-one sightings or physical contact with the creature, beginning with a 7-year-old running to tell a local farmer that there was a big old hairy monster in your field, and ending with 2 young families under siege from the great Bigfoot-like creature on a dark night several years later. The film also names real-life players in this drama, many of whom portrayed themselves in the film. Most prominent of these fake residents is Smokey Crabtree and his family, key players in the area's real Bigfoot search. We first met up with Smokey at a special meeting of the Texas Bigfoot Research Center, convened in Texarkana specifically to hear this gentleman tell his tales. Crabtree is a natural-born storyteller in the tradition of Will Rogers, with a slow southern manner and enough colloquial spice to make any tale enjoyable. The fact he can spend 30 minutes telling a story that any other man could recount in 5 is just part of his charm. Smokey will tell you that he was raised on the banks of the Sulphur River, miles from the nearest neighbour and even further from the nearest town. He and his brothers learned if they wanted to eat, they had to first catch their dinner. From a young age, they learned to swim in the river and catch fish by hand, there being insufficient funds to buy a fish hook. Smokey explains in his commercially made CD recording that he will gladly sell you, that he has learned how to hunt and trap at an equally tender age, providing the rest of the family with game and selling the pelts from their excursions into the bottoms for hard cash. If nothing else, Mr. Crabtree's stories are a glimpse into the reality of life in the Arkansas wilderness during the Depression. The only thing I know about Arkansas was a bit that Lewis Black did, because Bill Clinton used to be governor of Arkansas, didn't he? And he managed to get them.
That's right.
He managed to get them educationally from rock bottom to rock bottom but one. he said, what do they do to these kids? They just send them running out into the field, and if they don't hit a tree, they get an A.
They just have to make it across the bog.
Can't hear me. Hello. I don't see why not, because I'm on. Is someone winding me up, are they? Can you hear me all right? Dom?
Hang on, let me unmute on YouTube.
Yeah. Give it a quick test.
Yeah, you're very quiet.
I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. It's this fucking
I
thing.
can hear you, but you're just a bit quiet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like everything's everything I can is everything I can do is maxed out. Let's have a look. That's all on full. Hold on one sec. Let's have a look at bits and bobs. Audio sounds alright to me, says Lost for Words. Hold on, let me just have a quick look.
There's a folk monster song.
Is it specifically the Boggy Creek one, is it?
I'll post the link to the
that's volume mixer, sound settings. Hello. That looks okay.
Sounds alright.
Hold on, I'm just checking the. No, I tried that one. Oh, I think I've just messed it up.
I've posted the song in general.
Right, so can you still hear me, Dom?
Yep, no, but now you sound slightly robotic.
Yeah, I thought so. Hold on, right, so let's have a look. See if this is still doing things properly. Voice and video. Voice mod. That's still. How does that sound? Hello, hello. Hello. Is that any louder?
It is a bit louder. Well, it is on Discord. I don't know about YouTube.
Is it? How am I sounding on YouTube? Can everyone stop moaning now? Hello. Evening out. That's better. Right, okay. So I've just chopped out voice mod. It's weird. My mic just does whatever the hell it wants to. Like sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's better when I go through voice mod, and sometimes it's not better when I go through voice mod. It just makes its own mind up.
Hello, I'm here as well.
Oh fucking hell, Hobbit! You're on helium.
Oh, of course, Windows Update means fuck you, microphone.
Sound like a camp version of you.
Camp Hobbit.
What you're saying is this is your real voice, Hobbit? Is that what you're saying?
What, you mean camp version of Hobbit, so like a normal version of Hobbit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, you're back to yourself now.
That's it, you're back to your normal self.
I need to do some capstan correspondence. I drove a lorry where lorries should not be driven, and I did it. And what's more, just an announcement to everybody in the world that drives a car, right? You know, like you're looking for a parking place and you think, no one's parking there at that junction. The reason people don't park at junctions is because occasionally long vehicles like lorries need to turn around in them. And when you park your car there, that means you might get clipped or you might get scraped. Now, that didn't happen today, but I would like the people in that area of the world, which I'm not going to mention, that have parked their car at that junction, perhaps reconsider where you park your cars in the future. So there.
Just being a public service announcement.
Yeah, public service announcement. Study the highway code. It's not boring. It's actually got useful rules.
I know this because I had to do a naughty boys driving course this morning.
Oh no!
What did you do? Was it 50 and a 30?
No, it was a red light camera.
Oh. What was it a heavily laden vehicle and you couldn't stop in time?
No, it just couldn't be asked.
In a camera in the red light district.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of. Well, it looked amber to me. It looked amber/green to me.
It was green when I got there.
Yeah, it's green. It was green when I was halfway up the road. I saw it was green before I got there.
Look,
that's what counts in it. It's when you see it's green. And
we're all quantum physicists, right? So in the many worlds interpretation of quantum physics, it was both green, red, and amber when you passed it. Nobody can know until observed. And when you observed it being green.
So you could just claim that you were like red-green colourblind.
Yeah, red-green colourblind.
No, actually, because I know someone who's got complete colour blindness, and he can tell that based on the position of the lights, actually, that where the green one's at the bottom and is brighter than the red and amber.
He did say what goes red, yellow, red, yellow, green, and I said packet of wine gums. No, I didn't. I was a good boy. I behaved myself. Yeah, I had to do it by Zoom. Is Zoom the most fucking shit thing ever to try and sign into?
Yeah, it's pretty annoying, isn't it?
Oh, have you done Zoom, Hobbit?
Yeah,
it really is wank. It's not why anybody uses Zoom. I don't know.
I thought I've paid £2,000 for this course, and I just get to talk to somebody that's in their house, and like, mate, no. I want to come to like some shitty office building with a whiteboard and somebody drawing, some blocks to represent cars and lorries and go through the theory that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Hobbit, have you heard of the place called Folk in Arkansas? It's Folk and it's in Arkansas. That's what I'm talking about.
oh, folk in Arkansas. Folk in Arkansas.
How would you pronounce Fouke? Is that Folk?
Fouke. It's Fook.
Yeah. Right,
Folk.
That's Folk and it's in Arkansas.
Oh, is this like when they say, that village in Dorset is called Frome because it's not Anglo-Saxon or Roman, it's Celtic, and it's one of the few Celtic place names. So, because I look at Frome and it's like, well, that's from. It's from or frommy. No, actually, it's pronounced Frome, and we don't have any other examples of Celts.
I'll be back, Ross.
And the thing is, what I'd like to know is, well, how do we know it's pronounced Frome? Why do the people that live there say, oh, it's Frome? Is this like one of those things where they say, oh, my name's actually Rams Botham?
I'd say Frome.
Yeah, but, well, you're Celt, aren't you?
Yeah, but how do you know it from? How you know
Well, pronounce it like Rome. It's like out Rome with an F on the front.
Yeah, but
I'm really... No, not that the radio audience can appreciate this, but I'm very smelly, and I'm waiting for a shower. I'm just waiting for the water
Good
to
job we're
warm
not in
up.
smelly vision.
Yeah. But I have got a
Can you imagine if they
Fortean...
invented that?
I have...
God.
Oh, well, actually, yes, they have. Japanese scientist invents taste synthesizer screen. You can lick it for various flavors. And I'm sure there'll be porn applications of it.
Oh,
Because,
you know there are going to be, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, porn drives technology, doesn't it? The DVD was down and out until they started making porn DVDs.
And that's how VHS won over Betamax, because somebody who was championing VHS, I won't name their name because they told me not to, gave 500,000 blank VHS tapes to various porn places so that they could then put their productions onto it. That is what settled the foundation of why VHS won over Betamax.
Can't we get
Yeah,
porn
but
people to use Teams instead of...
How do you explain
Zoom?
Blu-ray winning over HD DVD though? Blu-ray's a bitch to like record to.
Maybe because Sony has the PlayStation 3 and that's a Blu-ray.
Probably.
I don't know.
It's the way most people have a Blu-ray player, isn't it?
Yeah. So the Fortean thing I wanted to say is I've been watching some Star Trek films and I watched The Search for Spock. And in it, you've got that guy who's in Back to the Future. Great Scott! You know the one.
Yeah.
But he's playing
Christopher
Lloyd.
Rick Sanchez.
Yeah, that's it. And he's doing Great Scott! Kapla! He's playing a Klingon in it. And he's got this pet, and the pet's like an animatronic puppet, and it's slimy. And I just thought...
Did you find watching... What's that bird's name? Like the jarring difference between her and Kirstie Alley.
No, I didn't find that bit. But I'll tell you
Klingon
what...
Bird. Do you know the Klingon bird in it?
Oh,
That's the same character from The Wrath of Khan, but it was played by Kirstie Alley in The Wrath of Khan when she was fit.
You know what? I don't actually remember, but I do notice in Star Trek 4, which I don't want to talk about, there's this black guy in it, and he plays Grandpa Sisko in Deep Space Nine. But back to Deep Space 3 and the animatronic puppet, it's slimy and it's kind of like creepy looking. I think it's a Targ. Did you notice a lot of films back in the early 80s had a lot of this animatronic puppets which were slimy? The examples that come to mind is The Thing, Flight of the Navigator, Critters, Gremlins.
Ghoulies. We had this conversation the other day, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
But we haven't had it on air, so we can have it again.
So, yeah, it's new to the audience. Yeah, and it's just, you know what? It's kind of like, especially like in Star Trek, it's a bit crap. But in The Thing, it's really good because the lighting and stuff makes it. But I have got a lot more respect for even crappy puppet play than I have even some of the really good CGI, because there's something about CGI where it's very soulless. I mean, I think in like the late 90s when I saw CGI in games, like especially like Command and Conquer, it's like, oh wow, that's so cool. Like here's like renders of what the pixelated little buildings are in the game. So that was cool. But now it's kind of like the Buzz Lightyear film. It's like, oh wow, this is it's the same generic look, everything. It's so samey. There's no difference. I
Are
feel
you
like
looking
I'm
forward to Avatar 2, Hobbit? I saw the trailer for it the other day.
Oh, they're doing a sequel to Avatar? I mean,
Yeah.
This has been in production for like 12 years. Fucking
It's
hell.
been in production since the last film came out.
holy shit. That must be some sort of production hell.
Well, it's James Cameron, isn't it? You know.
I think he's just a bit of a Didn't Avatar like take a massive amount of time to make?
Yeah,
itself?
but I mean, like, you know, between Terminator and Terminator 2, it was 6 years, and that's because they were waiting for the technology to catch up.
Was
so you
Terminator
know what?
James Cameron, was it? Oh yeah, I think it was, wasn't it?
I just
Second one was.
Terminator Metal Dog. Let's see if I can find that, because somebody did. Like, oh no, it's not that. Ah, crap. Right, you know that scene where they're in the hospital and they're rescuing Sarah Connor, and then Metal Terminator goes through the doors and stuff.
Yeah.
But
I've seen some of that, but somebody instead. Hang on, have I found the right clip? Yes, I found the right clip. Right, okay, here we go. I'll post it into general. This is very Fortean, right? So if you're a nervous disposition, right, don't watch Fortean Words for the next 7 seconds when Hemi loads the clip.
Yeah, hold on, give me a sec.
I literally just came online because somebody posted a picture of waffles with some molten lead on top of it. So I was going to post that as a reply to it.
Blue waffles.
Yeah, not blue.
Yeah,
waffles,
well,
but-
actually, yes, I suppose they are if you put molten lead on them, because it's kind of got a silvery blue sheen to it.
Oh, hold on, got it.
I've just, put my
Oh yeah, I've
laughter in.
just seen it. That's not actually showing.
CGI is too shiny and plastic rating.
Right, so why is that not showing?
Alphabet Cat says the Targa's a sort of Klingon dog. I always thought of Targa's like a pet boar or something.
Oh, here we go. We're going. Right, I'll just play it for the things. It's only 6 seconds.
Oh, Susan Majicki's going to strike you now.
That's stupid.
Oh, look. Yeah, I was thinking about that today. As I was driving a lorry past people, and can I just say thank you to the Hewitt's driver behind me who let me merge in turn. Thank you very much. You are truly a king of the road. I'm sure all lorry drivers listen to 40M Words because we just talk about
CGI for me, like replying to Alphabet Cat. I don't think it's too shiny. I think it's the way it moves that makes it
it's
not
Uncanny
right.
Valley. It's become
Yeah.
the Uncanny Valley.
Well, it doesn't move quite right, does it? As good as it is, it just doesn't move quite right.
Used to be that the lighting didn't match the rest, but now
Yeah, do you remember Back to the Future? Is it 2 and 3? Is it 2 and 3 where they CGI'd the DeLorean?
Yeah.
to CGI in Blade. There was a part where Wesley Snipes was lying down and he had to open his eyes and he refused to do it, so they CGI'd it in. It's brilliant.
Wait, there's CGI in Back to the Future. I mean, I know that was that bit in Back to the
3.
Future too.
Actually, it's quite a bit in. I think it's quite a bit in 3. The train's all CGI. In Back to the Future 2, I think it's only the flying car.
Oh, right, because I thought the flying car was done with like some sort of green screen or something, but
No, there's some.
Model.
I think there are close-up shots like the front half of the car, and I think that's obviously on some sort of piston-y thing, isn't it? But like the actual flying is all CGI.
okay. And the
Back to the Future. Look, whoever doesn't believe me, watch Back to the Future 2 again. You can see the car in certain scenes is obviously CGI.
I will watch it again because I enjoyed that film. I definitely thought the Jaws 3D
Right,
bit. That's
it's half an
CGI.
hour too long though, because that chase for the almanac gets really tedious.
Really tight. Yeah, it does.
What where Biff Tannen becomes Donald Trump, but like Donald Trump
No,
in
no, no.
Hollywood.
The bit at
voice.
the end when he goes back to 1955 and he's trying to get the almanac.
Yeah, I know it does drag on a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll be right back. I just need to de-stink myself.
I did watch that. I
before
don't even know. I don't even know
ad
what else.
break. What were we talking about?
I was talking about the Legend of Boggy Creek.
Boggy Creek.
Let me see. Let me see if I can find a bit with a car. Back to the Future 2 Part 2. It's the bit where it's the bit where he lands in Hill Valley, and you can see the car is obviously Back to the Future. Apparently, in a 1976 BMW 633 CSI Back to the Future 2015 BMW. I can't find the bit. I can't find the bit. But if you do watch it again, when he lands in Hill Valley, you can see it's. Yeah, see the second one is too convoluted in its storyline. Some of it's quite good, but some of it's just like a bit bleh. But they had a car and a crane. No, it's only like a specific scene. It's like when it's when he lands in the future in Hill Valley, but you will see it. But anyway, back to Boggy Creek. We got bogged down in Back to the Future talk. Alaska. So where was I? Oh, right. So once you've heard Smokey's stories or read his self-published books, you begin to get the impression that the Boggy Creek legend is his personal property. This is part of the world, and there is no this is his part of the world, and there's no doubt that he knows the territory well. Talking to him, it becomes obvious that most of the incidents recounted in the film are based on his accounts. You also realise that while Smokey has never claimed to have seen the creature himself, his mastery of storytelling means that most listeners will come away convinced the folk monster is for sure an honest fact. The other true and honest fact, as Smokey would say, is that there is no love lost between himself and Charlie Pierce, the Texarkana native who produced and directed The Legend of Boggy Creek. With a little prodding, Crabtree will tell you that Pierce did him, his family, and the people of folk out their fair share of the profits from the movie. Smokey is a bit more gun-shy of outsiders today. What's in it for me, he inquired when we asked him to show us around the bottoms. Once you compare...
Been no sightings.
No, it seems like it comes completely from this old southern bullshitter. Once you compare his version of events as told in his books and CDs and that part of the film, it's clear they are one and the same, with only minor variations and the odd name change. And the distillation of these sources leaves us essentially with just two key stories that tell the whole tale. The first concerns Smokey Crabtree's son, a teenager back in 1965, in the film where he's running down a deer. In Smokey's version, the youth was simply out hunting squirrels. Either way, while out in the woods, he comes face to face with a hairy 7-foot-tall beast. After a few moments of overwhelming curiosity, he is forced to take several shots at the creature as it approaches him. Forced to, like, it just looked at him. Okay, it's coming right for us. The boy only has a 3-shell shotgun loaded with birdshot, which would certainly not take down the creature. He aims for its face and then beats a hasty retreat back home, with the monster apparently showing no ill effect. As Smokey tells it, the entire family heard the shots, but when he went out to investigate, he found nothing. He noted that even the spent cartridges from the weapon were gone. I.e., they were never shot. What do you reckon, Tom?
Yeah.
The
There's
sec-
quite
Go on then.
clearly a brown bear on its back, standing on its hind legs. If there ever was
I'm just
anything
thinking
there.
of the bear from the Great Outdoors, just with like no hair on its head. You seen the Great Outdoors, Dom?
No.
It's John Candy and Dan Aykroyd.
Oh yeah.
And
I
there's
know what
that
you mean.
there's
Yeah.
that bear in the end where John Candy runs in, stands in front of the door, going bear, big bear. doesn't he? I wonder if that's where they got the joke about the. Do you remember the shotgun in the shotgun in Shaun of the Dead? I wonder if they got it from that, because there's a shotgun lamp, isn't there, that everyone says it's not loaded, don't they?
Oh yeah.
The
A lot of references in Shaun of the Dead, though. So
yeah. I wonder if that's one of them. The second story of two young couples renting a home near Boggy Creek and having a harrowing encounter with the creature forms the film's climax, but Smokey's version of the tale is rather surprising. In the film version, the two couples move into the area when the men are hired by a local Raja. The two women, both young and with infants, are left home alone at nights while the men are working. On the first night, they hear strange noises and turn to the landlord, who searches for intruders and finds nothing. The following night, the noises occur again, although when the husbands return from work, they can find no explanation. Later, the house is invaded with a great hairy arm crushing through the window. The men run outside, guns in hand, and take shots at something in the nearby woods. The sheriff is summoned, and as the intruder returns and gunfire erupts, one of the group is injured by the attacking monster. Smokey Crabtree's version is slightly different, with a very different ending. As he tells it on the newspaper accounts of the day report, the young man who was injured had suffered from mild shock rather than being mauled by the creature, and while the family fired countless rounds at the thing in the woods, no remains were found, and the family deeply frightened left the house and the village of folk the very next day. In fact, the newspaper reports confirmed they were loading up a U-Haul trailer when reporters arrived at the scene early that morning. While we have their names, nothing has ever been heard directly from the family since these distant events, and they have now been absorbed into the folklore of the folk monster. Smokey adds another detail missing from the film account. It seems that next morning a horse was found dead in a nearby farmer's garden. It had been shot. Was it that horse's glowing eyes that the two men were shooting at the woods that night? Did the wounded animal retreat to the farm at the road to die in the garden? It seems plausible enough, although one might wonder why the dead horse was never reported to the police, and that the reporters didn't get wind of it and tie the two occurrences together. There are some strange inconsistencies in Smokey's tales. However, that bear consideration, his stories are strewn with dogs, pigs, chickens, other farm animals butchered, skinned alive, or reported missing, and all blamed on the folk monster. Yet, says Crabtree, when he set about trying to capture the beast, he baited a trap, a giant steel cage originally made to hold a full-size bull with fresh melons and fruit. The creature, he says, is not a carnivore at all, although he offers no... So it's not a carnivore, but he couldn't trap it with fruit. I think maybe it is a carnivore, and he's bullshitting.
You could just tell.
Yeah. It definitely loves fruit. It can't stay away from fruit. You just can't stop it eating fruit. Smokey readily admits that his only credentials as a monster hunter are his years of experience hunting, tracking, and fishing the bottoms. He makes no claim to be a cryptozoologist, just plain country folk with a close knowledge of his environment. And that knowledge has provided with some interesting insights over the years. For instance, Smokey maintains the creature has 5 different calls. One that sounds very close is like a little kitten, the next is a young goat, and a third similar to a night owl, and the fourth like a dog caught up in a barbed wire fence. That's a very specific sounding noise, isn't it?
Maybe those calls were actually like the things that they sound like.
Just look away. That call, it sounds like a dog caught in a barbed wire fence. What a weirdly fucking specific noise. And finally, the bellow of a bull elephant. Although I have to wonder about this one, we have to take Crabtree's word that these sounds are produced by the creature and not elephants aside by the animals they sound like. So this guy's sounding pretty sceptical by now, isn't he?
But yeah, this whole legend's based around one guy and his borderline personality disorder.
When we visited the area with a small group of investigators from the Association for the Study of Unexplained Phenomenon, ASUP, it was midsummer. The temperature was in excess of 105 degrees F or 41 degrees C. Fuck me, that's hot. And a humidity 85%. You don't so much breathe as just chew it, don't you? That kind of air. In an attempt to look at the environment from the creature's perspective, we're prepared to work our way into the landscape by following Boggy Creek itself from where it crossed a small dirt road near one of the locations of a report many years back. One of my companions, a young naturalist, quickly pointed out the number of poisonous snakes in the region, which gave rise to a lively discussion about how the beast could survive here in the age-old debate about where such creatures go to die, given the fact that their remains seem to never surface. That's the thing. Like, you never hear about like the is it the secret elephant graveyards or something? Do you remember that? They used to talk about it like years ago, Dom.
Yeah. Like, what in? Yeah,
Just like
they'd
even
like
in like
travel
naturalist
miles.
yeah, even like naturalist documentaries and stuff like that. They said there was like a secret elephant graveyard where they all went to die, didn't they?
Yeah.
You don't ever hear about that anymore, unless they finally realise it's just the Africans stealing the ivory.
Yeah, and just dumping the bodies.
Yeah. So, in an attempt to look at the environment from the creature's perspective, we prepared to work our way into the landscape by following Boggy Creek itself, where it crossed a small dirt road near one of the locations of a report from many years back. One of my companions, a young naturalist, quickly some mistakes already done this. So, given the fact that their remains never seem to surface, as the naturalist pointed out, one animal's carcass is another's dinner. Even the bones will be devoured in time by the wildlife. While no dead monsters have ever been found, there was a famous three-toed footprint which came from a 1971 incident in the fields of Willie Smith, Smokey's brother-in-law. Okay. So we can trust him then if he's Smokey's brother-in-law. On the outskirts of Folk, a tenant farmer had been leasing Smith's land to grow soybeans and had found a set of neat tracks. Maybe the Chinese found it first and sold it all. Yeah, that's why they don't talk about the Chinese found the secret elephant burial ground, didn't they? That's why they don't talk about it anymore. And had found a set of neat tracks in the sandy soil leading from the forest edge to the middle of a field. He called Smith, who in turn called Smokey Crabtree. According to Smokey's account, he was not good at taking a print directly with plaster of Paris, so he decided to lift an entire print from the field using a metal sheet about 2 feet square, which he sharpened on one side to slide into the sand below the print, placing the entire specimen in a glass wooden box. What the fuck? He stated that the prints were all over the field, but he lifted only one, a right footprint of a three-toed creature, which was very clear and reported about 14 inches long. Crabtree noted that the distance between the prints in the field was between 26 and 37 inches. There are some inconsistencies here. No, you don't. There are some inconsistencies here, Dom. What do you think to that?
I think the inconsistencies are. Yeah. Also, do you think his brother-in-law is also his cousin?
His brother-in-law is probably all his grandpa, isn't he? Who was it did that? So was it Jerry Reed did that on My Own Grandpa, didn't he?
No.
There are some inconsistencies here. According to a local newspaper, the footprint was cast by Mr. Smith, who in turn showed the plaster cast to folks at his gas station and even made copies of it for those willing to purchase them. There's no mention of a sandy print being lifted or shown, and none of Mr. Crabtree either. The cast was reportedly destroyed in a fire at the gas station in the late 1970s, but not before Frank Schambach, an archaeologist from Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia, had a chance to examine it and pronounce it a fake. The photographs of the cast imprint do show 3 toes, but it appears to be of a normal 5-toed human-like foot that has lost 2 toes at some point. The 3 remaining toes do not seem evenly spaced and would probably not be capable of supporting an upright walking creature. And the prints in Mr. Smith's field revealed something else rather strange. The creature had apparently walked between the rows of the new beanstalks, which were about 3 inches tall at the time, being careful not to trample them. Smoky Crabtree admits he walked through them like he owned them, being careful not to harm a one. Hardly what one would consider normal animal behaviour. While the prints in the field garnered a good deal of attention, it wasn't the first time the folk monster had been reported in that area. One sighting was even made by Smokey's mother the years before, even though she'd seen a tall, hairy creature standing in the very same field along Oak Street. Seems to be quite a family affair, this one, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I've posted a picture of the print. If you...
Oh, yeah, let's have a look. Let's pop that on there. Right. Get all this shit back up.
The partial of a human
What
foot.
Yeah, that was terrible, wasn't it?
Some of these Bigfoot fucking sightings, man. They're getting really good at the fakes. Well, if they are fake.
Yeah, it's not a good one, is it? Oh, why is this fucking window not showing?
You know. I think I found an untapped resource, the fucking Daily Star. Fucking hell.
The Daily Star. What about the folk monster or just general?
Cryptozoology shit. Like they've got everything. There's a werewolf, like literally, like this month.
Oh, is there?
And the werewolf in Texas. Like Jesus.
Sunday Sport was a. I don't know if that's still going.
Yeah, they found a World War II bomber on the moon, didn't they?
Just remember, one of their headlines was "Face on Mars grows beard."
Jim Cook said that's a Simpsons hand. The creature of Boggy Creek is Homer, isn't it? It looks like a hand. It doesn't look like a foot at all. Like there's the wrist and everything, isn't there?
It's Smokey's own inbred foot.
Yeah, it's Smokey's inbred foot.
Fucking hell.
But you can see the wrist part, can't you? You can see the distinct hand and wrist. Smoky Crabtree said he has the definitive proof that a creature exists. According to him, a man called him to say they had found a giant's carcass in the woods in nearby Texas. The man said he'd called the police, but the creature hadn't been removed and no investigation had taken place. Probably because it was Thanksgiving Day and the body had still had some flesh on it, but the head was missing. It stood about 8 foot tall to the shoulders and had 4 toes on each foot. The landowner didn't want the creature left on his property, but Smokey admits he was a little concerned about moving it across the state line. Not Smokey, the lad himself. The 3 men, Smokey and the landowner, and the man who had found the remains, eventually agreed it should be transported to a place near Folk, where Smokey had built an airtight glass enclosure for the remains. He then informed local residents they would be telling the story of the folk monster for a small admission fee, and in the best traditions of P.T. Barnum, after telling his tale, announced that for just $3 more, they too could see a real monster. The figure of $3 was arrived at so the money could be easily divided among the 3 partners. Smokey set up strict rules for viewing the creature. Absolutely no photos could be taken. Viewers could not linger by the creature or examine it closely, and they were to file into the room where the remains were being shown and quickly leave in single file. According to Crabtree, the 3 partners cleaned up. Smokey believed that if properly authenticated, the thing in the glass box could be worth millions, but the partners decided to move the creature after a second showing and have continued to move it around ever since. Perhaps he was still smarting from the footprint evaluation by the university professor, but Crabtree will not say precisely when this all took place, and there were no records in newspapers or local police agencies of a headless monster's carcass being found in the area. By the time the ASAP researchers were done in Folk, their judgment was the legend of Boggy Creek was just that, a folk tale fanned by the continuous retelling of the story and the motion picture that claimed to document it. But just as they were about to write the folk monster off, things got interesting. While there had been no sightings of a Bigfoot in Arkansas for some time, they had recently started up on the other side of the Red River in neighbouring Texas, just a few miles from Folk. These claims were being made by apparently reliable witnesses living on the edges of the Pinewood area, similar to the bottoms around Folk. Some residents had collected prints from the creature's nocturnal path. These were of the five-toed variety, and eyewitness accounts appear to follow the classic Bigfoot profile in size, shape, and behaviour. One could easily discount the Folk claims, except for the fact that Texas reports are from a similar nearby area and just the other side of the state line. Perhaps the Folk monster isn't the benchmark we should use to judge other sightings, and the legend of Boggy Creek should be taken for what it is, an entertaining film based on a number of sometimes contradictory witness accounts. As for myself, I tend to think of this creature as being the Puff the Magic Dragon type, one who has gradually returned to his cave because no one wants to play with him anymore, or believes that he exists. But the folk monster is nevertheless a great folk tale and keeps kids up late at night, straining their ears for that trumpeting call drifting from the bottoms.
I have seen the boggling creature, and it is a frightening monster.
The boggling creature?
It's a smelly boglin, and it even has a name. It calls itself King Cobra JFS.
Do you remember boglins?
Yes, and he is a very smelly boglin.
Mm. So, Fraser, are you completely convinced that the creature of Boggy Creek is absolutely real?
Yeah, there's absolutely zero evidence for it to exist, right? Fucking no corpse, nothing.
But what would you
even
say?
that plastic ass thing looks a bit fucking suspect.
It's like the whole thing with the remains seems like a modern day version of the back in the day when they used to have like the religious relics. Be like 8 different churches who all claimed to have the left testicle of Jesus, you know.
Yeah.
Don't you mean the holy prepuce
Saint
of
Paul.
Jesus?
Everyone's got Saint Paul's skull, yeah? Fucking hell. Right, yeah.
I always thought that was a grim relic to have. It's like a little flap of skin. It's like, I don't want to see our Lord's foreskin.
But that's that. Oh, that's another fucking 14 for another time. That is. Why the Christian Church decided that they would go and collect all these artifacts of dead apostles and.
I'll tell you why, because it's metal as fuck. Have you ever been to the Cathedral in Valletta?
I don't know. Where in the Bible does it say about necromancy and shit like that? Like fucking, collecting dead people shit.
Find me the bit in the Bible where it says it is hella cool to make an altar out of skulls of Knights Templar and have it in Valletta. Because I tell you what, when I went into it was like, what shall we do with all these Knights of Malta? Shall we bury them? Nah, I've got a better idea. Let's clean their skeletons and we'll make the skulls into an altar. We'll put their bones, the ribs, and make the roof with it. And then there's another one in Czechia, they call it now. What used to be Czechoslovakia.
It's like an entire church was made of it, wasn't it? Like entire ceiling.
Yeah, the Sedlic ossuary. But yeah, I think I want to say there's a chalice made out of skulls of one of the former Grand Masters there, but that might just be my mind going, yeah, that would be hella cool.
I was watching a documentary about what are they called? Ed and Lorraine Warren the other day. Apparently, when they were doing their exorcisms, they used to carry around. They had some saintly relics. I don't even want to know what that is. I mean, isn't that like a bit of a saint or something, isn't it?
Yeah, these relics. They used to be I mean, the church was quite rich. So those people, peddlers, like claiming to. It would make a lot of money out of them.
That's what Ed and Lorraine Warren used to carry around.
I think certain relics can be charged with power. I know a lot of New Agers are into crystal healing, but I carry an amulet of Saint Christopher.
What, jerk-off crystals?
Yeah, but I don't jerk off with Saint Christopher. I pray to Saint Christopher before I'm driving so that I don't crash, and ever since I've done it, I've never crashed.
Oh, it's the patron saint of travellers, isn't he?
That's the one.
Right, do you want to listen to hear about some perverts now then?
Oh, are we going to talk about King Cobra JFS?
No, worse than that probably.
Oh.
Last. So this is from, I don't know what year is this one from? 2016. So this would be 2015.
This minor attracted paedophiles.
Probably worse.
Or
Some of these are pretty
unident-
wild.
Unidentified aerial paedophiles.
UMAPs. Last October, Edward Smith, 63, from Washington in the US, revealed on the television show This Morning how, as a young teen, he was tempted one night to step outside to make love to the neighbour's Volkswagen Beetle. Having first become attracted to cars in 1965, I'm not really attracted to any sort of, I may say, penetration, he explained. It is hugging and holding the shape of the car close to me and actually talking to it a little bit. And then, of course, the rest is just physical satisfaction. Masturbation is, I guess, the word. He explained that he kept his clothes on during the passionate sessions, but he basically just unzipped. He's been living with the love of his life, Vanilla, since 1982, despite having another simultaneous relationship with a Ford Ranger called Ginger. He said there's no resentment on Vanilla's part. Besides having sex with over 700 cars, he has also had a relationship with a helicopter and planes, and they're claiming they are all better than women.
That's like the woman who says, "Yeah, I'm now married to the colour pink."
Yeah. So, for CCTV footage of a man sexually assaulting a Porsche in Thailand last May, and there's a link here.
Sexually assaulting a Porsche.
Yes.
Did he put his dick in the fucking exhaust pipe?
I don't know.
Can you claim it as sexual assault against an inanimate object? Which
Well, if you
is
want
a
to find it,
non-sentient thing?
it's http bangkok.coconuts.co 2015/05/11/auto-erotic-man sexually.
Where the fuck are you sending us? The fucking dark web.
It's if you want to watch the CCTV of it.
I would do that. Okay,
And you Jim Cook says, and you thought that was just bird shit on your car.
Oh,
Yeah. I believe it's called bird lime now. I don't think you call it bird shit. You call it bird lime now, don't you?
see, you know what? I blame Disney for this. This is Disney's fault with the fucking Han Solo movie,
Herbie.
turning Lando Calrissian into a fucking
Herbie's fault.
homosexual. Herbie? No.
You think about it. Like you got Lilo when she was fit, like big tits, because I had to digitally reduce her tits because they were too big. So you got her plus Herbie. I'm gonna have to disappear for a minute. I've got to blow my nose. I'll be back in a sec.
He's gonna go. Yeah,
Just
blow your nose.
a
Blow your load,
reminder-
you mean, over Herbie?
This is also known as paraphilia, and other paraphilia used to be defined as non-reproductive sexual matters, and
So anyway, so you got Lilo and her big tits. You got Herbie, and then there you go. You're a teen. These kids are teenagers. They get a bit confused, and there you go. Jobs are good, and that's it. That's it. Their sexual passion's completely fucked forever. So I'm blaming Disney.
Yeah.
About Knight Rider.
Right? I don't know.
I think Michael Knight and Kit had a
Bonnie.
gay relationship.
Bonnie or the other one? Then dumb.
Bonnie.
Don't you remember Bonnie, the one who used to fix Kit?
Oh yeah.
And then they had the other one who weren't as fit, didn't they?
I'll have to...
Oh, what, like with the Avengers when they replaced Emma Peel with whoever Joanna Lumley played?
Purdy, actually, I think.
Dirty Purdy.
Kenneth Douglas, 60. Oh no, sorry, I just read that. No, I haven't read that one. Kenneth Douglas, 60, worked as a morgue attendant in Ohio from 1976 to 1992. Last August, he admitted to sexually abusing the cadavers of 3 women between 1991 and 1992, and disclosed in a deposition he had had sex with up to 100 corpses over a period of 16 years while he was drunk or high on crack. I would just get on top of them and pull my pants down, he told a court. Douglas wasn't rumbled until 2008 when his semen was found on a murder victim, 19-year-old Karen Range, who was killed by a door-to-door salesman. Fucking hell.
That must have been an interesting interview. It's like, right, you're a suspect in the murder of this victim. Can you explain why your semen was found on her? Oh, well, that's
Because dead
I'm
girls don't say no.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
what's
dear.
known in the LGBTQP plus, the plus stands for paedophile, the P stands for paedophile community, known as a necrophiliac because love is love. Yes.
Here's someone you may have heard before. Jimmy Savile may have had sex with corpses for more than 50 years. A former nurse said she was warned about the activities of a person she thought was Savile at Leeds General Infirmary in 1954. She was heading to the hospital's mortuary when the ward sister told her to be careful and come back if the pink-haired man is there. She added he was there, so I turned around and went back to the ward. Savile is also believed to have stolen glass eyes from the dead and made them into medallions and rings.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was just about to say, what about all those rings he wore that are made from corpses' eyes?
Yeah.
Glass eyes, that is. You know, he doesn't make medallions out of real eyes.
I mean,
How the fuck did he get away with it for so long?
you wouldn't.
Oh, for his entire life.
Have you ever read the police interviews they've
How
done
did he
with
used to
him?
clean the eyes? Do you reckon he used to put them in his mouth and then pop them out and then give them a rub with a rag?
He
Polish
probably
them, yeah.
would have. He's wrong enough to do that sort of thing. But what's his name? I read a police interview with it, and during the entire police interview, they're like the interviewing officers are like really embarrassed to ask him all these questions, and Jimmy Savile's like blowing them all off. And at the end of it, I mean, I'm surprised there's not just a bit saying, "Oh, can we have your autograph?" Because they're really just fawning over him.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't. And it's like, I watched that documentary the other day and they just said, well, the BBC just said, well, it's your fault because he was so popular.
What?
Yeah, the BBC, I can't remember which documentary it was that I watched, and the BBC just basically said, well, it's your fault, we couldn't do anything about him because he was so popular. Like,
Yeah,
that's
they
the
seem to
code
have a
that the
track
BBC are
record.
coming up with
That's
now.
literally the Kevin Spacey defense, isn't it? Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, can't do anything
Isn't
with
it?
that.
Chewbacca
It's just
defense.
too popular.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the Ray defense, isn't it? It's why
Yeah.
Ray was in 3 films, because she was just too popular to get to dump off, weren't she?
Yeah, well, I mean, in the Kevin Spacey one, it's like, look, I play Bill Clinton in as an actor, and just to get in the method of that, I get to sexually abuse and murder. I mean, have consensual sex with underage boys. Yeah.
Our Hobbit, they were just multiple plane accidents and suicides.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, but
His initial defence was that he was like, okay, I'm gay. But that doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't excuse it, does it? That's what I'm saying. That's why it's the Kevin Spacey defense, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, he's
okay.
too popular. It's like, yeah, that excuses it then.
Did
like,
you ever see that really weird? It sounds like a death threat. Like he was playing it as the character, which is based on Bill Clinton, and it's not anything to do with the show he's on. I'm not sure what. It's some sort of politics show.
House of Cards. It's based on a British on a BBC show, isn't it?
Right,
Is it?
but he's
Same name,
basically there doing a piece to camera
I actually
where
like
he's just
House of Cards.
talking about his enemies and they're gonna basically end up dead. And I'm like, holy shit, this isn't like a death threat. He's not talking as an actor. He's not talking as a character. He's talking as an actor, saying like, these are the people who have wronged me that think they can blackmail me and they will meet their just desserts. I'm like, if I was like a suspect in a crime and I was saying, right, this is a list of people that fucked me over and better watch their backs, I think that'd be admissible as evidence.
Weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, he's an actor though, Hobbit, so he's just acting.
Also, the
Go on.
completely false Clinton kill list, which is totally not real and just a hoax, bro. It needs to be amended because now there's some more additions to the completely spurious list, which is fictitious and not real in any way, shape, or form.
And you're not suicidal either.
Yeah.
Right, Jared Kreft, 30 from Warsaw. I think it's Warsaw. It's WAUSAU. I'd say it's Warsaw, Wisconsin. was arrested on the 17th of December 2014. He was suspected of performing oral sex on a horse after reviewing horse pornography, responding to a call about strange goings-on in a barn. You know, this hasn't even hit rock bottom yet, this story. Police found Kreft near a horse wearing a face mask, black jacket, blue jogging pants, with holes cut in the crotch and the bum. He also had a dope pipe and a jar of petroleum jelly.
I assumed that this was a male horse and not a female horse.
Yeah, well, it said he was caught. No, he was arrested. He was suspected. I don't know. It says oral sex on a horse.
Oral sex on a horse. Fuck.
I'd assume male because he's cut the arse out of his jogging pants, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Wait, was he attempting to do a Mr. Hands? Is that his
I
fucking,
guess
is
so.
this the Mr. Hands Appreciation Club or something? Fucking hell.
Yeah, the Mr. Hands kill count.
On the
Wasn't
second of June,
suicidal either, by the way.
on the
Is that
second of
actually?
June. Oh god, you're on you two.
I just wondered if that was actually a thing. Is there a, you know, there's a people who die at the age of what, 27 or something, isn't it? Like, is
Yeah.
there a fucking Mr. Hands kill list? Has died in the same way.
Ugh.
Don't search the internet for that, kids. Don't
Oh god.
do that. All right.
Did you remember that guy who used to be on Jerry Springer all the time that was married to his horse? I think he died of some like horse fucking related disease, didn't he?
Oh.
Yeah,
Would
there's
that
some
disease
people that
be-
have been killed by being penetrated by a horse. Yeah,
I was going to
there's-
say that it's the disease of having broken insides and hemorrhaging.
No, I think he was married to a female. He ain't fucking gay, I bet. Come on.
Oh, I'm
What do you
sorry.
think he is? Some
He's
sort
not
of
a
pervert?
queer. He's not some sort of queer, I bet.
Yeah.
I'm
Married a
sorry-
female, man. Jeez.
I'm sorry to bring like human equine relations into disrepute. I do apologise. I retract my
Maybe
statement.
this is just some like secret society thing in order to like create centaur people, you know? I don't know.
There's a horror film from years ago called The Revenge of Billy the Kid where some bloke was fucking the goat and there's like this some half human, half
Theta.
goat hybrid that's
Oh,
like
it's
killing everybody.
Theta, is it? Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
Satan.
How many boobs and fannies would a centaur woman have?
2 boobs.
I mean,
and-
would she have like a fanny between her back legs and one between her front legs as well?
No, it'd be the back, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's like what organs has a centaur got?
It's basically got
These
an,
are too many questions.
got an entire.
This is what I wanna know,
Yeah.
what organs has a
So-
centaur got? Because like
Yeah,
it's like the body of a horse, but it's like a torso instead of a head, isn't it? So where
Yeah,
were
the
where were
torso
the
grows
organs
out of the neck.
located? Yeah,
So
so
it's
where
got-
are all the organs located in a centaur?
What does the centaur eat? And also, like, you know, like horses have to have those jaws to chew grass,
Yeah.
but I don't think whoever designed a centaur really thought it through. Like, how does it work where
yeah.
you've got like a body, a human body at the front and horse at the... No, it just...
Would,
but
would
the
it
other
have
thing
like
as
2
well, right?
stomachs then, or like 4 lungs or something? I don't know. Like...
Yeah, exactly. It's like the torso, the human torso bit just full of blood. So like, if so, they should be able to get stabbed and not die in the chest, wouldn't
That's
They'd
not
have
The
a
other
pair
thing
of,
is, I'm trying to
teeth
think-
and horse nipples underneath.
they?
Yeah.
I also like wonder the logistics of like when I'm tired and want to get comfortable, I lean back in my chair. As a centaur, how do you get comfortable?
What does the spine look like?
Well, obviously it's at a right angle, isn't it? Fucking right.
Look, I'm not like
Wait, no. The real question is, can a centaur bend over? That's the real question, right?
Oh, I've dropped my lighter. Can
Right,
someone
can you
help?
pick it up? I dropped my spear. Can you pick it up for me? I'm stuck in.
Can a centaur be sick? Because horses can't be sick, can they? That's why they die of things.
as much as I like the our ancestors and all the interesting things they've done. I don't think they've really thought through what a centaur is.
Well, apparently, all the mythical beasts that they came up with are from dinosaur bones, and the two-legged ones were where they came up with like Hercules and stuff like that. So they had like manticores and all sorts and all the other ones. That's where they're basically their interpretation of what dinosaur bones were.
Oh, yes, please refer to our previous Fortean Words episode on dinosaurs, where I just tell people in the first minute of the show it's a hoax to distract from the fact that dragons are real. That's why dinosaurs exist. Thank you for coming to my Fortean Words show. Goodbye.
If you want to be a top archaeologist, just sell your Star Wars collection and go to America.
And then get picked up by the BBC in every university in England. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So, are you ready? Are you ready for some more debauchery? On the 2nd of June 2015, a Texan was arrested for having sex with a horse for the 3rd time. A woman contacted Hidalgo County Sheriff on 17th February to report an injured man in her barn. When officer arrived, she identified the injured man as Cirilio Castillo Jr., 45, and said he had been previously arrested for having sex with her horses. Castillo maintained that he had been struck by a car and crawled to the barn for shelter, but investigators believe he was trespassing in the barn with an attempt to have sex with a horse, but his leg was broken when the horse kicked him. Everyone knows don't go around the back of a horse. It's fucking suicide. In September 2013, Castillo received 5 years probation after he was caught horsing around in the same barn. He had tied a horse to her corral and performed oral and vaginal sex on her. He's not gay, is he? At least he's not queer. First arrested for all sex in 2012, he was sentenced to 270 days jail for public lewdness.
Is that all?
Yeah. Jonathan Ford, 32, who ran the I Love Lucy Pet Rescue Shelter in Hattieville, Arkansas, again Hobbit, was arrested in mid-June on suspicion of bestiality. The animals with which he was allegedly intimate were transferred to a different dog shelter. Oh, what? But they left the rest there? They only took away his girlfriends, did they?
Why would you take horses to a dog shelter?
No, this is a different bloke.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about the man who got kicked by a horse.
No, that was the previous guy. This is another one. So Ashley Miller, 18, was arrested in Bradenton, Florida, after police found 17 mobile phone photos in a folder called Two-Face Fun, appearing to show her receiving oral sex from a pit bull called Two-Face. Miller explained she would call Two-Face into her room, take her pants off, open her legs, and Two-Face would lick her vagina, stated the police report. Miller believes Two-Face has licked her vagina approximately 30 to 40 times. Miller admitted that she kept the dog at her grandmother's house and would go there when she wanted oral sex. She added her previous dog, a Rottweiler pit bull cross named Scarface, did the same thing to her, and that she did not have to push the dog to do it. Oh no!
So
The dog
recently, there was a story about a woman who had been mauled nearly to death by 2 pit bulls, and when they found the victim, she was naked, and nobody has said, like, nobody's asking questions. They're just saying how brave she is to survive it, and like she's going to look like a hideous freak and be in pain for the rest of her life. It's like, why were you naked in front of 2 pit bulls? And also, I don't want to know the answer to that.
Also, the horse
That was
thing.
my question, isn't it? Like, why would you photograph and save it on your computer?
Yeah. Oh, a
Why?
phone. It was on a phone.
A
She's a
phone.
Florida,
All right,
like,
phone.
yeah.
So you can watch it and have a wank later. That's why.
I would legalize bestiality for your pleasure in the animal. Cenk Wigger said that, didn't he?
Yeah, but Chink Wigger says a lot of stuff.
Do you remember when bronies were a thing?
Oh, God, I think they still are.
Yeah, they are.
What's worse, a brony or a furry?
Or a Sonny Chew.
A brony or a furry?
Brony.
Because I
Brony.
think bronies
I
are
don't
worse
know,
because
man.
there's something like they're invading a child's space, aren't they? Whereas like furries are kind of like it's its own thing, isn't it? If you know what I mean. I'm not
What
saying
about-
I'm not saying
Nah.
either are preferable or even should be allowed to live, but bronies are like distinctly worse than furries, aren't they?
I remember there was an episode of CSI where they had to go to a furry convention. You got all the ins and outs of what they do, and they go
Smell.
to these
Oh, no.
like yiffing parties where they rub against
Oh.
each other. It's called
Oh
yiffing.
no, they actually did that in CSI for fuck's
Yeah.
sake. You heard about that furry convention where they fill the bathtub up with kitty litter and shit in it, don't you?
Oh.
Right. So, if anybody is curious about this facet of human civilization, Catboy
No.
Cammy, I'm not sure if you can still find the video, did a video where he went to a furry convention. And there is an episode of JGLE where we interview him about it and asked him, but what about the smell, though?
Oh dear. Wallace Berg, 81, a retired embalmer from Stratford, Connecticut, was arrested on 29th of July for public indecency. A neighbour called police complaining that Berg was walking around his backyard with no clothes on. He videoed Berg humping a bush and confronted Berg, who covered himself with a grill cover, apologised and went into the house. He was released after posting a $10,000 bond. Fucking hell.
Oh, that's a lot.
On 26th of June, police in Millersville, Pennsylvania, caught Larry Henry, 60-foot, not Lenny Henry, 64, on a neighbour's farm in the nude, drinking beer among pigs. He told them, "I just like pigs," banned from the farm after being caught trespassing 4 years earlier. He was now charged with trespassing, public drunkenness and indecent exposure. He admitted drinking a six-pack of beer while hanging with the hogs. The brand of beer was in keeping. He was drinking Hams.
I don't recognise that brand.
Aiken Zulaya, 31, of Enfield in North London, was charged with attempted abduction of 3 girls aged 11, 12 and 13. The married man admitted in court that he got sexual kicks from feeling and sniffing black leather flat-soled pumps. Adding, "It's embarrassing. I've asked adults about shoes, but mostly schoolgirls. Those are the type of people who wear those types of shoes." He was found not guilty and given a sexual risk order.
So, like, when you said his name was Anakin Zuleda and he's kidnapped girls, I
Yeah.
thought, was this going to be for like organ harvesting? What's that thing where the voodoo they
No,
take
these
slaves?
are all sexual ones. So
Oh, okay.
Name was Anakin Skywalker. Did you say?
something like that. Luke, this one's a
I
bit
am
more,
your father.
this one's a
Give
bit
me
more
your
like it.
shoes.
Luke Rudge,
Did he get his
33.
arms and legs chopped off?
Luke Rudge, 33, from Leamington Spa, was jailed for 14 months after he lay on the floor in a library, grabbed a woman's ankle and kissed it as she read a book. He also sniffed her boots, which she had taken off, and told the 57-year-old that she had beautiful legs. The Warwick Crown Court heard that he had been jailed for 4 years in 2011 for indecently assaulting a girl of 14. What? Feet people? Never. Okay. Here's the top 3 then. Who's worse? Who's worse? Feet people, furries, or bronies?
Beat people because Quentin Tarantino's one.
Yeah.
Also, when you're saying that about that guy that in that library, it just reminded me of Avid Marion. It's like, oh, it makes me do sex we.
That makes me do a sex movie. Kenneth Crowder, 41, was arrested in April after running naked through a park in Melbourne, Florida. Melbourne, Florida? So it's in America. And having sex with a tree while under the influence of a cheap synthetic drug from China called alpha PVP, aka flacker or gravel. If you're going to do a drug, you want to do one called gravel, don't you?
I've heard of Flacker. People, I've seen Blix on it, and
Yeah.
wow, it's. I want to say it's like PCP, but no, it's its own thing. It's fucked.
Which allegedly first appeared in Florida last year. It was designed to mimic cathinone, a natural stimulant found in the leaves of the cat plant. Because the cat plant makes people docile, though, don't they? Because I don't know whether it's illegal now, but I know it was legal in England to have it, wasn't it?
Well,
It's like a twig
no,
they chew. Have you ever heard a cat? A bit?
I never had
Oh,
the
yeah, it
leaf
makes it-
itself.
Yeah,
Makes their mouth all red.
yeah.
I think it's
Oh, that's
Papua New Guinea.
betel nut you're thinking
Oh,
of.
is that
No,
another one?
cat is it's a leaf and it's chewed and for stimulant effect.
Yeah.
I have had a synthetic derivative of it,
Yeah.
but I've not had flacker and wouldn't want to.
Well, apparently that's what it is. Found in the leaves of the cat plant chewed in the Middle East. Crowder was tasered twice before telling people he was Thor and trying to stab a police officer with his own police badge. A witness said the naked man appeared to have superhuman strength. James Hall, an epidemiologist at Nova Southeastern University, said some 27 people had died from flacker-related overdoses in the last 8 months in the Broward County alone. It's that county again where Cruz comes from. Do you remember James Cruz?
Oh, what is it with Broward County and like having all these freaks in it? And also when you sing like he gets tased and calls himself Thor, he should have just been like, "I'm Super Grouper."
Super Cruz.
You know, like that Sesame Street character. Oh, Grover, not Groper.
Grover,
Sorry.
yeah.
Like,
It's the most intense, rapidly emerging drug problem since the 1980s, the emergence of crack cocaine, he said. The term flaca apparently comes from la flaca, a Spanish slang for slender and attractive woman.
didn't know that.
Oh, no.
Sage.
How about this one in the sidelines? Girl's Sweet 16 party in Levittown, Pennsylvania was ruined when a torrent of human feces from a passing plane splattered all over the tables, chairs and decorations and into the pool where people were swimming. About 40 people were affected. Oh, grim.
A real shower of shit, that was.
Yeah,
wasn't
it'd be even worse if you had your mouth open when it happened.
it?
Wouldn't it?
Oh, no. Is that the chlorine?
Just about to
force?
cut the
Yeah.
cake.
Oh, dear. Have you seen the program about this radioactive bore? Tests have shown that 28 years after the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, 1 in 3 wild boar roaming Saxony, 700 miles away, are too radioactive to eat. They're particularly affected because they feed on mushrooms and truffles that store radiation. Meanwhile, in central Norway, a dramatic rise in radioactivity in the reindeer population might have been caused by a bumper growth of the gypsy mushroom.
Oh yeah, there's like mushrooms in the zone, and they absorb gamma radiation and not photosynthesize, but they absorb the gamma radiation and they're able to make sugars. It's not photosynthesis though, because
Yeah, because
fungus doesn't photosynthesize.
No, they don't.
I can't.
Normally they're in dark or underleaf places where there's not much sunlight. So
But the funny thing about it is, I'm looking at these mushrooms, and they're dark in color. And what I find surprising about that is, that's it. Button mushrooms, which we eat, when they're dark in color, it's like our skin. It tans, and it produces not melanin, but a fungus equivalent of melanin. And if you eat it, you get vitamin D from it. And our body, when it tans, it produces vitamin D because the cholesterol, which makes testosterone, melanin, and vitamin D, when that is exposed to sunlight, gets converted into it. So you need cholesterol for your immune system. But by all means, keep on believing the science about cholesterol's bad for you.
The problem is though, we don't have much vitamin K2 because vitamin D calcifies your tissues. K2 makes sure the calcium goes into the bones, and we don't have it in our diet anymore because our animals aren't eating.
I was going to say
natural grasses, and there's no fermentation going on.
There are actually consequences from feeding cows other cows.
yeah, no.
And bits of plastic and shit.
What the fuck, man?
Just feed cows expired sweets. It's fine. I mean, calories is calories, right?
You know, some of the feed used to have other bits of cows in, don't you?
Yeah, well, they just like send them like the waste stuff from McDonald's.
Yeah.
That's where the
Yeah.
old mad cow disease thing came from, wasn't it?
Yeah. So a conservative American politician was voted against the. A conservative American politician voted against the gay rights bill has been outed for posting pictures of himself naked on Grindr, the gay dating app. Randy Boning, 52, a Republican from Fargo, North Dakota, helped defeat legislation that would have barred landlords and employers in the state from discriminating on the grounds of sexual orientation.
I don't care what you're saying. Just the name Randy Boning's just like, okay, Gaylord.
Oh, come off here. That's got to be fake. That's got to be fucking.
Wasn't there a senator
Psyop.
that was caught wanking and he had a name that sounded like it, like someone?
Was he the
Wasn't one of their
one knocking
politicians-
one out as soon as the Zoom call finished? Like,
Or
imagine
in
that,
the
like, you
middle of
just
it.
can't wait until the end of the fucking Zoom call before you get your cock out and start fucking.
No, he
knocking
didn't
it
even
out.
wait till the end. He was literally just like there on the call, and you could just see his arm moving and laboured
Oh.
breathing. And
Oh, he thought he turned his camera off, did he?
wasn't it Weinstein?
Oh, don't know.
But also,
Oh.
I'm sure there's like a US politician called Dick Sargent.
Oh,
Or
fuck.
maybe
it.
The one I'm thinking of is Anthony Weiner.
Oh, Anthony
Oh,
Weiner.
yeah.
No, he was sending dick pics to a bird, weren't he?
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, you want to see my wiener?
Oh, Jeffrey Toobin. I think that's who you're talking about in it, Hubbard.
Yeah, that's it.
Must be a whole raft of people whose name fit the crime.
How about this one then? Around 25 tons of pigeon droppings, 3 foot deep, were cleared from the 14th century Landgate Arch in Roy, East Sussex, to save it from becoming a ruin. We've never seen such a monumental amount of massive festering feces, said Mike Walker, boss of the County Clean Environmental Service. That's pretty bad because pigeon shit's really bad for you, isn't it, if you inhale it?
Yeah.
With no idea.
Yeah,
It can be
breathing
converted
in
into
feces is bad
fertilizer.
for you.
I've got lads. Don't flush your poo away. A fortune in gold, silver, and platinum can be extracted from human feces, and an 8-year study has found levels of precious metals were comparable with those found in some commercial mines in Britain. Extracting them could be worth 510 million a year. Traces are found in cosmetics, shampoos, clothes, runoff from metal industries and some foods. Particles can be dislodged from cutlery and gold and silver medical diagnostic tools.
When are people consuming gold? But more importantly than that, I remember reading like there was this guy who runs a toilet what's the name? Portable toilets. Portaloo, that's it. He runs a Portaloo business, but it's not. Yeah, sure, he makes money by renting out the Portaloos to various places that need it, but he also makes money by refining the urea in for AdBlue, and then the other, like, he refines the feces, and then he's able to extract like Prozac and other drugs from it, which then can be refined and then used in pharmaceuticals again.
Fucking hell.
Well, the thing which I find crazy about that was I remember watching on Tomorrow's World saying that one of the components of cow feces is vanillin, which is what gives...
How about this one? Has anybody eaten recently?
Yes.
Sarah Schrock, that's a very suspicious surname, 56 of Mechanicsville, Maryland, who allegedly shaved skin off her feet and put it in her roommate's milk, on 4th of May has been charged with felony poisoning and assault. When one roommate coughed up what appeared to be human skin, the milk was strained and found to contain bits of shaved skin similar to the kind Schrock kept in trays in her bedroom.
Tasty.
Oh.
So, yeah. Vanillin, found in cow feces, and it is what gives vanilla its smell. And I think the legislation was it can be used for aromas, but it's not for food consumption. although in theory, there's nothing wrong with it because it's a purified substance. It's not got cow shit on it. But isn't that weird? Like, and that's the other thing as well. Like, I don't mean to be disgusting here, but if any people have worked on a farm, especially cow farms, they don't smell as bad as going past a sewage works. Cow and horse droppings are
Well, they're
less.
mostly grass, aren't they? Cow shit.
Yeah, I mean, well, horses. Of what, like, if we're going on the rank of scat, I'd say horse
can
is
you get
probably.
cocaine from urine from cokeheads?
Yeah, you can. Or you can get the coke metabolites. I don't know. It's interesting that some drugs can pass through the system undigested yet work. But yeah, pigs smell as bad as human. Chicken's probably the worst. Can't stand chickens.
Actually,
But
speaking
What
of
about
pigs,
what about types of human shit? I think the worst is baby. Second worst is someone else's, like after they've used the bog.
Oh god, yeah.
Third worst is your own, and then the best is your own after a nice spicy curry.
I'd say, like, if I've been eating like a big fruit salad or something, then my shit doesn't smell offensive. But this isn't very Fortean, so I do apologise.
Scientific though.
Actually,
Yeah.
I can segue from this conversation. Sewer hogs and crocs. One of the most celebrated urban legends, along with the vanishing hitchhiker, is the sewer alligator. The story is so well known as to barely need repeating. Baby gators are flushed down the toilet, then these congregate into a mighty colony in the shitty tunnels below. The tale is almost always set in New York. The first reference to New York alligators apparently came in late 1930s. But there is a case to be made for London as the cradle of the sewer gator legend.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Alligators.
London was, to the best of my knowledge, the first place to have its own sewer mythology, perhaps because it was the first modern city with sewers big enough to impress the population above. Henry Mayhew noted in 1851 that there were fabulae about sewer hogs. I know. The story runs that a sowing young by some accident got down the sewer through an opening and, wandering away from the spot, littered and reared her offspring in the drain, feeding on the offal and garbage washed into it continually. They will go through bone like butter. Folklorists have long been aware of Mayhew, but they seem to have missed a later, but in some respects more exciting source. In 1892, a medical genius had the idea of introducing crocodiles, wait for it, into the Thames. These crocs were to be brought into London, stamped with the city seal so they couldn't be stolen, and then allowed to feast on all the unpleasant stuff that the once lauded Silver Stream contains. Did this include the many men, women and children who lived off the refuse of the river? And what about the boat race? The Medical Press and Circular seems to have been the first publication to run with the particular story, though I came across it downstream, so to speak, in the Gloucester Citizen of 13th April 1892. Was it even originally an April Fool's joke? And what does this have to do with sewers anyway? Well, when the Thames was clean, the Victorians were always such optimists. The crocs would be turned into the London sewers to sort them out, presumably starting with the hogs. The earliest news story yet found out about a gator in the sewer system because of Atlanta in 1873. But these early stories of strays with no suggestion of underground saurian colonies. Perhaps a Cockney who had taken up residence in Manhattan, or an Anglophile New York newspaper reader combined the well-known sewer pigs and 1892's most crackpot science suggestion and unintentionally created that tale. It was certainly much written about at the time. For example, when later in 1892 some baby crocs were found in a parcel by a postman, the British papers joked that these must be the sewer crocodiles. That is fucking bizarre, that is. I know what we'll do. We'll introduce crocs into the Thames. What could go wrong?
You need something in the sewers to eat the fatbergs, don't you?
Yeah. Pigs.
I just think it's with hilarious consequences, and unfortunately in China and Japan there was such a thing as a pig toilet, And I'm thinking, all those people saying, "Oh no, I don't eat pig; it's unclean."
You ever been to
Maybe
a
they,
pig farm? We went to
yeah,
one with a school when I was a kid. The fucking smell, really ammonia-y, aren't they? Pig farms.
yeah, yeah. I drive past a pig farm, and it just stinks of shit.
Yeah. What else we got here? Do you want to do some strange deaths?
Oh well, I know there's no strange deaths surrounding the Clintons because we've put that to rest, even though there are new victims to the
Do you actually have the
completely
names of the new victims, or?
Oh, if I go into the Fortean Words chat, it's probably been posted there by myself or Fraser. So let me just have a look.
Karaoke's Japanese for Ting Tong Sing Song says, better crocs than dinghy folk. I think he's talking about water pikeys, I think.
Oh, breaking. Pit bulls rejoice as Supreme Court ruling leads to dramatic uptick in food supply.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that one, Hobbit.
Yeah. Oh, you got banned by Professor Brian Cox, did you? Isn't
Yeah, I
Twitter
was going through some old screenshots. That was ages ago. It must have been over Brexit.
Isn't Twitter amazing?
Isn't
Oh, there
Twitter
we go.
amazing?
What's his name? Count Dankula did a video about it. Another Clinton aide found unalived because you can't say suicided on YouTube. You'll get banned or something.
Did you hear about Dankula's prank on YouTube?
Oh, Fraser, did you see the message I sent you in the 14? The glass of water. The first lesson from Space held for Chinese
yeah.
in the 14
no.
Telegram. I added you. I thought you'd like this one.
Oh yes, the glass on the table like full,
Yeah.
not floating away. Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah.
They're not even trying anymore, are they?
I tell you, the Chinese space agency is just fucking amateurs, man. Jesus, come on, they can't even.
Yeah.
Can't even.
They could at least
CGI
pretend
that shit, can they?
They could at least pretended to have lost the fucking things, couldn't they?
Apparently, Dankula posed as a Supreme Court justice.
Justice Dankula, yes, and
it was boasting about the Roe v. Wade.
Or was it a joke that somebody failed to get, which I imagine is probably more likely.
So what Dankula did is he photoshopped his face onto a justice thing, and then there was loads of people reeing at him on Twitter saying, "How dare you be evil?" And it's like, yeah, there's no Justice Dankula. That's not in the U.S. Supreme Court. There's no one with the name Dankula. So that was quite
death
funny.
threats and everything.
So, right. So I type in, and I'm using.
Just an aside. Have you heard what the lefties have been calling Clarence? What's his face? The Black Supreme Justice. It's like, blimey, Dems are the real racists.
Yeah. Oh, they've been calling him a house one, from what I hear.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, when I type into Brave Search, and I imagine Google will be the same. Latest Clinton aide found dead. The first search results Clinton body count, and then right-wing ghoul sees on reporter Christopher Signs death, and baseless Clinton conspiracy theory still circulating. Yeah, it's just the baseless conspiracy theory with the people that end up dead that would
just like
baseless.
Fucking hell, don't you know at least 5 people that have died in small plane accidents, Hobbit?
Yeah, and it's very very.
Don't you know at least 5 people that have died in plane accidents, and at least probably another 5 who've shot themselves in the head from the back?
It's a very common accident that happens, and there's no foul play involved.
Yeah, it's just law of averages, Hobbit. Like, if you know enough people who've died in small aircraft accidents and shot themselves in the head, or been shot during a break-in. It's just the law of averages. That's all it is.
Yeah. I did the same search in searchx.be, and it came up with the Mail Online. This was the 6th of June. Family of Bill Clinton advisor who admitted Jeffrey Epstein into White House 7 times blocked release of files detailing the death scene after he was found hanging from a tree with a shotgun blast at a ranch 30 miles from his home. So,
well, while we were busy finding out about other stuff, did you see that Ghislaine Maxwell's sentence got reduced?
yes, Danes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So what, from 20 years to what?
I don't know, but she's now on quote unquote suicide watch, isn't she?
Oh, so the cameras are going to turn off at some point.
Yeah, she's gonna
Yeah.
backflip off her bed again, isn't she?
Yeah, that was the big news.
Hey, when that happens.
But also, did you also notice that like what was the meme I saw? It was something about Ghislaine Maxwell, the only woman to ever have been jailed for trafficking children to nobody.
Yeah.
Then
Because
again, are you seen R. Kelly got 30 years for child trafficking, so he's got less than Ghislaine Maxwell.
he got more than Ghislaine Maxwell.
Sorry, you might got
I
more.
thought-
The name of the aide is Mark Middleton.
I thought R. Kelly was just called Kelly, but it was just Northerners referring to him. R. Kelly.
R. Kelly.
Now, why didn't what's his name? Avid Merrion he did Craig David. Why didn't he do Come On R. Kelly? That'd have been a great thing. I guess he
R.
wasn't.
Kelly disappeared for ages, and then he made a comeback, didn't he? I think that's maybe why.
What, the midget trapped in a closet R&B video?
Yeah.
I've still never watched that Trapped in the Closet.
I told one of my friends about it, and
The
he
real
was like,
talk.
and he just thought like, "Oh, Hobbit, you're talking shit again," and I'm like, "All right, there's YouTube," and I showed him the scene. He's like, "And you'll never believe this bit is fucking fucked up. It was a midget, midget." And then we watched like all of the rest of it because I said, "Mate, I don't want to watch the rest of it," but it was absolutely entranced by this video, just like, what the hell is R. Kelly doing? He's like singing about his fat white wife who's cheating on him with a midget. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that happened. I wasn't paying attention. I was pretty stoned at the time. So, yeah.
I've seen Rogan play it to many of his guests.
Midget, midget, midget.
So
spooky midgets, eh?
So on the 28th to 28th, they used the word dash, so I'm just using ISIS. So I'm just going to change it to ISIS. On the 28th to 29th of June, ISIS decapitated 2 women in eastern Syria. The first time the Wahhabi death cult has beheaded female civilians. One was murdered with her husband in the city of Deir ez-Zor. The other also with her husband in Al-Mayadin to the southeast. All 4 were accused of sorcery or using magic for medicine. In their enthusiasm to emulate medieval barbarity, we expect ISIS's vile, faux pious bandits to start sticking their victims' heads on spikes atop city walls with photos online. ISIS has previously released images of several executions in Syria and Iraq of street performers and others found guilty of performing black magic. Optical illusions and other basic magic tricks are considered a form of sorcery, an art condemned as questioning the existence of Allah. In May, ISIS's Libyan franchise released images of a sorcerer wearing a Guantanamo-style orange boiler suit being beheaded in the province of Barca. One of the images released as evidence of his guilt included a manuscript covered in handwritten Arabic, alleged to be some sort of spell. ISIS also released photos of a magician being decapitated in the Iraqi province of Saladin. A close-up image of the man's body shows a broken bag full of prayer beads beside him. ISIS claimed the beads are trinkets and charms, a form of forbidden black magic.
Send them after the flat earthers.
Yeah. Oh, don't. You set Fraser off. Stephen Winfrey, 50, was suffocated to death after getting stuck headfirst in a rabbit hole at a beauty spot on New Year's Day. A walker discovered him at 4 p.m. on the 2nd of January with just his legs and torso sticking out of the ground at Squirrelwood Scout Camp near Bergwallis, Doncaster. One hand was also visible, wedged firmly between his thighs. What? Is this one of those fucking sex cases, is it? He was at a 45-degree angle, curved around the deep hole. There were scratch marks on the ground. The unemployed father of two, a former miner, had been rabbiting an enthusiast most of his life. He had taken off his Wellington boots and jacket, which were found next to the hole, along with 2 bags, one containing ferrets, a spade, knives, and a net. The dead rabbit and a fresh mound of soil was next to the hole, while his dog was tied to a nearby tree. That's weird, isn't it? Jim Cook says, "Good job, Purple Aki didn't find him first." So, following mysterious deaths in a family in Muzarabani, Zimbabwe, 5 kinsmen asked their priest, Zavidzai Muchangeti, for help to cleanse their home of evil spirits. Self-styled prophet Shamiso Kanyama was invited to conduct the cleansing ceremony. He told the family he had to be buried alive to summon more healing powers. He helped dig the pit, then prayed before jumping inside. While laying face down, he ordered the family members to cover him with soil. As they did so, Joseph Tadarada asked them to stop, but Kaniyama urged them to continue, so that he would later come out alive. When he failed to do so, the soil was removed, and he was found to be dead. 5 members of the family were arrested and charged with murder.
Jesus.
That's a pretty good spell, isn't it? So on 28th of August 2014, Nathan Greenway, a 33-year-old gardener, was found by his wife collapsed on the living room floor in Aldershot, Hampshire. He was drenched in sweat, scratching lacerations on his hand and vomiting. He told her he felt as weak as a kitten. He was rushed to hospital, died of multiple organ failure on the 7th of September. He'd been working in the grounds of Millcourt House near Alton, and it's thought that he brushed past the patch of Aconitum napellus, known variously as Devil's Helmet, Wolf's Bane, or Monk's Hood. Devil's Helmet, that's it. Ooh. Without wearing gloves. The plant's toxicity is well known, but its roots are most poisonous part and can kill if ingested. Although the ornamental plant is quite common in gardens, doctors said Greenaway's death was extremely rare and they could not be completely certain of what caused it. The coroner recorded an open verdict. Julie McCabe, 39, a estate agent from Cowell in North Yorkshire, died in October 2011 after suffering a severe allergic reaction caused by L'Oreal hair dye. She was rinsing it out when she screamed loudly and gasped at her husband, "I'm struggling to breathe, I think I'm going to die." The anaphylactic reaction caused her to fall into a coma and she died 13 months later in hospital without regaining consciousness. The coroner at the inquest in Skipton, North Yorkshire in February 2015 said he believed it was only the second death in the UK resulting from hair colour, and the cause of death was given as cardio-respiratory arrest as a result of severe brain damage.
She died
You know,
because she died.
It's
Yeah.
funny, in nature, brightly coloured creatures are to warn you not to eat them because they're poisonous. And humans emulate that by having brightly coloured hair, where the dyes leach into their pores and give them brain damage, and tell you not to eat them because they too are poisonous.
So last one from the deaths. Jaylin, or Jaylon Rippey, a 5-year-old Florida girl riding in her family's boat on the 2nd of July, died after a sturgeon leapt from the Suwannee River near Fanning Springs and struck her. Her mother, Tanya 31, and 9-year-old brother Trevor suffered serious injuries and were taken to Gainesville Hospital. Low water levels in the river meant sturgeon were jumping more frequently in recent years. 4 people have been injured by jumping sturgeon in 2015, and this is the first fatality from a sturgeon strike on the Swanee River. The fish are known for leaping more than 7 foot or 2 metres above the water. They can grow up to 8 foot long and weigh up to 200 pounds. Fucking hell, getting one of those slapping you in the face would really do the trick, wouldn't it?
The Nicola sturgeon.
Yeah, no, that's painful, but in a different way. Do you want to do some unexplained mysteries, Hobbit? Is Hobbit still here?
Guess not.
Has he gone? Ooh,
Hobbit.
spooky. He's been abducted by aliens.
No, the big.
No, I'm here. Oh fuck! I just Where's Discord? Why can't I find the thing to make it open and like the thing? Oh boy, am I ever ready for unexplained mysteries?
Oh,
I
this one
almost
sounds interesting. Slenderman attacker seeks conditional release. Do you remember those two girls that stabbed the other girl because they were told they said Slenderman said they'd do it?
that's funny.
The woman had tried to kill her classmate because she believed it would appease the fictional creepypasta character Slenderman. The chilling incident, which occurred in 2014, saw Anissa Weir, it's some fucking German name, and Morgan Gieser.
Imagine my shock. No.
We're both Germans. Imagine my shock. But both 12 at the time, lure one of their classmates out to a woodland park in Wisconsin before attempting to take her life. The senseless attack was reported. Fucking hell, she's hardly done any time then. She's done 7 years for nearly killing someone.
For nearly killing someone?
Yeah, they stabbed the girl, and the girl managed to crawl off and get help, didn't she?
Right. Okay. No.
The senseless attack was reportedly dedicated to Slenderman, a fictitious entity invented on an internet forum who appears typically very tall, thin individual with a black suit and no face. Geezer, who pleaded guilty to first-degree intentional homicide in 2018, was sent to Winnebago Mental Health Institute, where she was determined to be suffering from mental illness. Weir, meanwhile, had also been sent to a mental health facility, but was later released on the basis she no longer represented a threat to the public. Now Geezer is petitioning to be released on similar grounds. She'll be subject to a renewed medical evaluation with a decision expected later this year. It kind of reminds me of... Does anyone remember that line from Starship Troopers where they said like about the mentally ill? I said, like, well, surely if you cured somebody who was mentally ill and who murdered someone, like, when they realise the horror of what they've done, they'd commit suicide.
Yeah.
Well, that's assuming that they don't just go, yeah, I've found Jesus now and I can be redeemed through his.
I've
his
found
thing.
Jesus now. Oh, you've got to forgive me. You will
Well,
forgive me. I
like
found
General-
Jesus.
Like General Buck Naked's, like, I
Yeah.
am now a reverend. You must forgive me for raping and murdering your brother. Whilst you're on Unexplained Mysteries, I'm looking on the X forum, and one of the yes, 4chan's X for paranormal things, and one of the
Hobbit, look, is it ethical to use human brain cells to make computer chips?
they're doing that already, aren't they? They're doing
They
it using.
probably are. If they're
They're
talking
using
about it,
abortions.
if they're talking about it now, that means they did it. They did it 30 years ago, doesn't it?
There's plenty of brain
haven't they
tissue from
discovered-
abortions to use.
They discovered quantum computing. Maybe that's how they've done it.
Could be. I think quantum computing probably comes out of CERN, doesn't it? The portal to hell. Scientists are working on ways to combine human cells with computer chips. But is it something we should really be doing? The year is 2030. We're at the world's... Oh, God, it's another made-up fucking article.
You say made-up article, but the thing is, it's close enough to reality that it probably is real.
Yeah.
Like the country that's in between Egypt and Jordan.
We'll forget that bit. Although the name and similar... So they do that stupid fucking thing in 2030 crap. So, but in December 2021, Melbourne-based Cortical Labs grew groups of neurons, brain cells, that were incorporated into a computer chip. So how do you grow neurons in Hobbit?
Well, you don't have to. You just get an abortion. You take the brain matter out of it, and then you do twisted, torturous vivisection to your heart's
The
content.
resulting... does this sound right to you, Hobbit? The resulting hybrid chip works because both brains and neurons share a common language, electricity.
No.
And basically, neurons can thicken in your own brain by just continually thinking the same thoughts and continually stimulating them. Just get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but you can't put fucking like general electrical current, into your brain, can you?
What about electroshock therapy?
It is an electrical. In that it's
a brain's AC or DC.
It's well, it's not. It's neither. It's electrochemical. It's a chemical thing. It's not actually.
It's electrochemical. It's an
Yeah.
exchange of positive and negative ions between the membranes, basically.
Yeah, you can't just plug your fucking wall socket into your head and like fucking transmit the electricity on it. Like,
Well, you can, but
A brain's
it's not recommended.
is
no,
electrochemical.
no, no.
Is it
All you
AC
get
or
is
DC?
all you will
Hobbit?
get is the smell of beef burger. That's all you're gonna get, right?
Yeah,
Well,
know.
pork actually.
yeah. Smell of pork. Smell of bacon.
Unfortunately, due to the nature of my work, I now know what burn victims smell like.
Yeah. In silicon
excuse
computers,
me.
electrical signals travel along metal wires that link different components together. In brains, neurons can communicate with each other using electrical signals across synapses, junctions between nerve cells. In Cortical Labs' dish brain system, neurons are grown on silicon chips. These neurons act like the wires in the system, connecting different components. The major advantage of this approach is that the neurons can change their shape, grow, replicate, or die in response to the demands of the system. Dish brain could learn to play the arcade game Pong faster than conventional AI systems. The developers of Dish Brain said, "That sounds horrible. I don't know. That just sounds horribly dystopic, doesn't it? Something called Dish Brain. You can imagine
Do you
like a
think
horror
that-
film called Dish Brain, couldn't you?"
I think that's the technology used to create that Google chatbot that's just become sentient.
Possibly. You don't know, do you? Nothing like this has ever existed before, and it is an entirely new mode of being. A fusion of silicon and neuron. Cortical Labs believes its hybrid chips could be the key to the kinds of complex reasoning. They must be gutted about the fucking Supreme Court decision, because they're not going to have so many chips. They're not going to be able to make so many chips, are they? AI, is this going to cause a fucking a drought in chips? Is it? Another startup making computers.
Wait. That's where all the graphics cards fucking silicon's going, isn't it? Into
Yeah.
these fucking like weird like AI bots.
Yeah.
God,
Which now
that's why you
design
can't get a 1080
themselves.
anymore. Or a
The
fucking
Nvidia.
GTX.
Don't you want to
Yeah.
buy the Nvidia Abortion 3600? Hobbit, would you buy the Nvidia Abortion the
It
3600?
depends what kind of graphical output it puts out.
Well,
Yeah.
I think the eventual point to this be like, hey, why pay for some aborted brain tissue when you've got your own perfectly usable stuff?
Yeah.
Get the Neuralink now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll use your own brain, your own neurons to power the software. Like the Meta will just connect directly into your brain.
As a vegan, can you buy a dish brain piece? Dish brain piece.
Yeah.
Can vegans buy dish brain? That's what I want to know. I want to ask. I'm gonna ask Peter.
Man, what happened? What are we gonna get when we have people who like are against like using like the transhumanist shit? What are they gonna be called?
I don't know. They're gonna go, "Oh, you're just a Luddite."
Yeah.
You know what surprises
You
me?
don't want to use an aborted fetus in your computer. Oh, you're just a Luddite.
They'll just be called fetus breeders.
Yeah. You dirty fetus lover.
Those that are beefeatist.
Yeah. Be fetus.
We might have to bring up in a later thing, but there's the dead internet theory, and one of the things I was surprised to hear, apparently GeoCities, the entire collection of all those websites, amounted to 8 terabytes.
What if the internet is really electrodes plugged into Walt Disney's brain?
I nearly have 8 terabytes of storage locally. I could do 8 terabytes if I was to destroy my RAID array, but I have enough now that I can do that. But 8 terabytes for GeoCities, and it's all... I say it's all gone. There's 1 terabyte of it that's been preserved.
Uh-oh. Elon Musk's AI humanoid robot to be unveiled in September. I wonder if that's got a dish brain.
Or a Neuralink.
Designed to carry out dangerous and boring tasks in factories and other workplace settings, Optimus will be capable of carrying loads up to 20 kilograms. What the... Is that it?
But Hemi, why are you
20
distracting from the true paranormal discussions that they're having on X? Like, what is this? Real werewolf or a furry? Or would you fuck a skinwalker?
Okay,
Why
let's have a
won't
look.
you
Is this
answer
real
the
or a
hard?
furry?
Why won't you answer the hard questions, Hemi?
Yeah.
Is
Why
this
you just
a real
covered with-
werewolf? Is that a real werewolf or a furry? Like
What?
yet
Wait,
again
have you seen
another
that?
shitty image.
What is this the thing that the Daily Star posted about like a month ago? Or
Possibly.
something? Or,
You're
yeah,
just
it's the
covering for the
upright
fact
werewolf
Jerry-
thing behind the fence. Is that it?
Yeah.
Doing
You're
is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
covering
sat
for
on
the
a
fact
park
Jerry
bench.
Epstein shit himself.
Jeffrey Epstein shit himself.
Jerry Nadler.
Jeffrey Epstein probably did shit himself when he did triple sour cal off his fucking thing. Would you fuck a skinwalker? I mean, they can shapeshift into whatever you wanted. Your ideal woman. I see no downside to this. I think you should get into camping. It should be fun even if you don't run into a skinwalker. Plus free food in the forest like mushrooms and berries.
Yeah. See? These are the true questions that the brave Kumas ask. What would it be like to have sex with a monster?
A few months into it, you'll get butt fucked in a neon-coloured suit made from plastic fur, and it still wouldn't have had sex with a skinwalker. I see no upsides. What about how they kill people? Well, maybe it's just placebo. Plus, they probably just fear humans. Must be nice for a change. Listen, Skinwalker girl, we both know it would never work out. Our lives are just too different. You're a horrifying, shape-shifting coyote monster who stalks and brutally murders her human prey for her own sick pleasure. And I'm a neat whose most strenuous outside activity is occasionally walking on hiking trails. It won't work. I'm sorry, really. It was never meant to be. And there's something else for you out there. Plenty of monsters in the woods, you know.
Yep.
This is definitely some shit a skinwalker would say. Go to get you to go outside and get killed. Not happening.
And there's the usual succubus general 291. How to summon your own succubus girlfriend. No, I shouldn't laugh because summoning a succubi is a serious matter to be taken seriously.
What else is there? Is there any other
I think
good
just
responses
Incredibly
to this?
easy.
Now, Hemi, do you remember when we did that episode about isn't fungus amazing?
Yeah.
Oh, cosmic death fungus, hey?
Oh
Got-
no.
is that- have you
Oh
got
god.
Yeah. I'll post you a link because we could do a whole episode about this. Isn't
Cosmic
fungus
death
amazing?
fungus.
Part 2. There's PDFs. There's parasites, basic gestalt on anti-parasitic treatments, both herbal and synthetic. The hidden epidemic in North American parasites, and Candida diet. Oh yeah, Candida is a type of fungus that spreads through humans. Yeah.
But fucking hell. Yeah, I'm not clicking on any of these fucking PDFs. You gotta be kidding me.
Trust them
Turpentine has a long
PDF files.
historical use as an anti-parasitical agent, even back in pre-Norman Anglo-Saxon days, the days of King Alfred the Great. Ingesting ship tar was recommended for use against intestinal worms. Ship tar being pine tar, the source of turpentine.
I just want to say for the record, I know I can't stop you people from doing things which may harm yourself, but please don't drink terps.
When used medicinally, careful dosing is required, and this guy is not a fucking doctor. He's some retard on the internet, remember. The maximum dose of 1 teaspoon must be respected. Lethal dose of turpentine has been known as low as 1 tablespoon. So there you go. Don't do that fucking stuff. These blokes are idiots.
But please don't consume terps.
Yeah.
You'll not have a good... I'm pretty sure everyone in our audience wouldn't consume petrol. Consider terps to be the same sort of thing. Just don't. Terps is good for thinning paints and stuff, but it's not.
Sounding pretty terps phobic there.
Karaoke says I call it American drinking bleach. American drinking bleach.
Yeah, terps, bleach, petrol, these are all things that go rama rama, and as we know, that's just for abos. So don't go rama rama.
Don't be Rama Rama.
Oh, don't be Rama Rama. Yeah, sorry, I can't remember the.
So Elon Musk is Elon Musk the Antichrist?
A lot of
I don't know,
people
man.
say
He
that.
seems to come out with more and more weird shit, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's about to save Twitter though, so good.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know. I don't know. Jordan Peterson.
Twitter,
Jordan
yeah.
Peterson got suspended.
I mean.
Oh no, I think he left because he got like piled on because he said a fat bird wasn't an attractive model.
See, you seen the size of this stingray? Fuck me. I bet they're going to eat the bastard, aren't they? Measuring a whopping 13 foot from tail to snout and weighing in at 300 kilograms, nearly a third of a ton, this absolutely massive fish was caught by local fishermen to the south of Stung Treng. That sounds like something you get while you're trying to get a stingray on board, then it's Stung Treng. Footage recorded of the catch shows the enormous creature, which resembles a huge grey disc, being viewed by a crowd of locals who gathered to witness the spectacle for the shows. The animal was kept alive on a semi-submerged tarp at the edge of the river while it was carefully weighed and measured before being released. Fucking hell, they didn't eat it. You're joking me.
What?
Ching Chongs captured something like that and didn't eat the fucker. No, I don't. I'm pressing X to doubt on that one.
Do you remember when there was like a village in China and they unearthed what they assumed was like a rare underground fungus or something.
Oh
And
no,
it
have you seen this
turned out
geezer?
it was a discarded fleshlight. It was just like some sort of local Chinese news, like, these villagers found an interesting buried fungus.
Of course.
Ooh. So what do you think to this weirdo? He likes Stephen Hawking, but he apparently is a cyborg, apparently. I'm
Stephen
lucky enough
Hawking's
to be a
dead, right?
prototype and a neo-human. An early
Wait,
experiment.
wait. Is Stephen
What?
Hawking still alive?
No, he's dead.
You sure?
I'd say
Okay.
Stephen Hawkins has been dead for a long time. Because do you remember the ice bucket challenge for a disease called ALS?
Yeah.
Turns out Stephen Hawkins had ALS, and
Yeah, no, we don't.
most victims suffering it don't live more than, I want to say a number like 5 years. Don't quote me on that. It's a small number. And yet, for some reason, Stephen Hawkins is not in the Guinness Book of Records for longest survived victim of ALS.
Reckon he was an animatronic.
Do you
Well,
want to finish on a funny story?
Is it about the man who escaped police, hid in a vat of cow shit for several hours, but then was discovered? And
Was this in India?
no, actually, it wasn't. It was in America, and he had one of those weird hippie names, like, I want to say it was something like Wolfberry October. Let me see, Berry.
Do you want me to do mine in between? Elephant kills woman, then returns to crash her funeral. An elephant not only killed the woman, but came back especially to trample all over her corpse as well. The disturbing incident, which occurred in Odisha, India, saw 70-year-old Maya Murmu, who had been collecting water, being trampled to death by an elephant that emerged from the nearby Dharma Wildlife Sanctuary. Despite the best efforts of local doctors, the woman could not be saved. Incredibly, however, while her family was conducting last rites at her funeral a few days later, the exact same elephant came charging in, grabbed her body off the funeral pyre, but trampled on it a second time before throwing it around like a rag doll. The terrified victim's relatives had to wait several hours for the elephant to leave before they were able to complete her last rites. It isn't clear exactly why the elephant had taken such exception to this woman. Specifically, however, confrontations between elephants and local residents have been on the rise in recent years due to deforestation and the encroachment of human activities into the elephant's natural habitat. Efforts are currently underway to build more corridors for the animals to move around without coming into contact with humans. However, avoiding confrontation is going to be a losing battle.
I know it's the same elephant. I mean, at the risk of sounding racist, they do all look the same.
Are you talking about our elephants or Indian women?
Now, I found the story, and the mugshot of this victim is it is a white guy, but the name is Wolf October Berry. So I'm guessing he had hidden
Go on,
parents.
read the story then, Hubbard.
Now it's called Nowata County or Nowata County. Nowata County deputies say they arrested a man after finding him hiding in Calmware. Deputies said they first stopped Wolf October Berry on Thursday for not wearing a seatbelt. So, not wearing a seatbelt. They said he sped off along Country Road 17, then crashed and ran away. Deputies searched his truck and said they found property from 2 nearby burglaries and a semi-automatic pistol. Later that day, deputies arrested Berry after he'd been hiding in Calmure for several hours. They posted this picture on their Facebook page. Berry was arrested on several complaints, including eluding and possession of stolen property. Can you imagine processing him in the police station? He's just like covered in cow shit. Like,
Did he used to be Midberry Crunch?
it's now Wolf October Berry.
Yeah, I've just alphabet cats. No, interdimensional lizards just reminded me of the Peterson tweet. It was Ellen Page. Ellen Page is just a woman with her tits cut off. I'm paraphrasing there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's what he said. Something like that.
Oh no, we have to defer to the paranormies. Elliot Rogers was always a man, just pretending to be a woman. Elliot Page Rogers. They look the same and they are the same. You can't convince me otherwise. Yeah. I found a slightly longer
I've just found
story
starring
about
Patterson Joseph as Severus, Joe Arando as Julia, his wife, and David Mitchell as the physician. This is a non-audience comedy drama with strong characters and a richly evoked atmosphere of the little-told tale of the time that the United Kingdom, as we know it now, had black rulers.
Is this Netflix?
Worse, the BBC.
Oh god.
Oh. So I found a bit more information about the Wolf October thing, right?
Mintberry Crunch.
Yeah.
So who are they saying was black now? Like who's gone dark? Like,
So
Severus
no one.
something over there, isn't it?
Who? What? Severus Snape? Oh, fucking Harry
What's his
Potter
name?
now.
I don't know Severus. That's all I know.
But the actor is called Joe Arando. But anyway, Wolf October Berry has now got a bond set for $25,000 by a Cherokee Nation tribal judge. So, yeah.
Good for him.
Well done, Mintberry Crunch.
Mintberry Crunch.
Well, hiding out in Calmure for several hours. And for what? You still got arrested.
Oh, yeah, but can you imagine the back of the police car?
Honestly, I'd just be like, yeah, get the pickup truck. We'll stick him in that.
I'm never having any ice cream that's Wolf October Berry flavoured because it's going to taste like cow shit.
Is that what Ben and Jerry's are going to do next? They're going to do Wolf October Berry.
Wolf October Berry. What sort of like? What are we going to call our? I assume it's Mr. and Mrs. Berry, right? Because Berry is the surname. Oh, we're going to call him Wolf October. Why? Because we're high on LSD and it's Halloween.
It's smacked up hard too. Because River's a bit fucking passé now, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and India is just so 1986.
Right, so I think that's us done for tonight. Final words, Hobbit.
I would like to say Willie, bum, and don't be a cunt. Don't park on the junction.
Final words, Fraser and Dom.
I'd like to say I'm now clown sexual and I demand the right to have an abortion.
Fraser.
I just want to escape to a universe where there's like decent people.
Yeah.
Hit me up if you know if you found one yet, son.
And I'd like to say, stay spooky out there. Ooh.